is for living. And at First International Bank and Trust, we're all about living, helping your dreams come true. Because we're not just in the banking business. We're in the first home business, the community sponsorship business, the how do I make this happen business, making your banking life easy so you can focus on what matters most. First International Bank and Trust. Live first.
Coming to you live from the Bonfire Studios North. It's another episode of Tauros Weekly. I'm your host, Peter Theodos. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Ken Oda. And Ken, we got to come up with a title for this series of episodes that we're doing for Tauros Weekly. Because we got another alumni. It's a very popular one, too, from my understanding. Obviously, I haven't been around, and I wasn't here when he was here. But we have Johnny Walker on
still
today.
One of the most talked about Tauros around the rink. And, it is good to have Johnny Walker on, catch up with him. Let's cut out the pregame stuff. Let's just get right to it. Johnny.
Exactly. Johnny, welcome to Tauros Weekly.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Johnny, why don't you give the fans a little bit of an update on what's been going on with your life and your career and all that?
I've been at Arizona State for the last 3 years. Still a forward. Haven't gone back and played D. Thankfully, those years are over. But it's going really well here. We've built a really solid team, and the program's growing every year. I'm really enjoying it. Just working out and trying to stay in shape for when hockey starts again and getting after it. So
we'll start with your Tauros career. You mentioned briefly how you were still playing forward. You'd struggled your first year in Minot. You were a defenseman. What led to that change and the conversations that you had between yourself and the coaches?
Truthfully, I think it was just the fact that I couldn't play defense. I really, my feet were slow. I was obviously a younger kid playing at a higher level and with some men and had to improve a lot. And Marty came to me with the idea, tried it out in preseason, and then ended up doing it at the showcase there. And first game, I think I might have scored the luckiest goal still to date. Almost touched the rafters on the way down, but it ended up going in. And then I remember that game like it was yesterday, but completely, obviously changed my path and couldn't be more grateful. I got a second opportunity and a second chance and capitalized on it. So I'm really grateful for that transition.
You know, that transition was made a little bit easier, Johnny. You were on a line with Blake Lizotte and Christian Mose, which I'm actually working on a story here for this summer on kind of looking back at our history at the best lines in Tauros history, and that's got to be in the running. What was it like playing with those two guys, and how did that help your transition?
Yeah, well, the first game, like I said, I actually Marty told me, more of a bottom six role and kind of just go out there and grind and play hard. And then obviously got a little lucky, but then that next game on for the rest of the season, I was with those guys, and I couldn't be more thankful playing with them. Obviously, Blake has started a tremendous career in the NHL. Mose is he had a tough injury in college, but he's coming back, and that was the easiest hockey I ever played was alongside those two. Mose could completely wheel and fly up and down the ice, which made up for me playing in a bucket of sand before the game and those ugly feet I had. But and then obviously Blake, just relentless worker and such a smart hockey player. The ability to make plays, and really all I did was just chase it in the zone and then give it to them and go to the net. That's kind of how I started, and they were tremendously easy to play with.
You know, you don't sell yourself short, though. You've had a fantastic career since the transition. you look at the success you've had in college, second in goal scoring as a freshman with 17. Now back-to-back 20-goal seasons. You were second in the whole country last year with 23 goals. What is it about your game that every level it seems you've been able to put the puck in the back of the net?
Yeah, I mean, I think my willingness to pay the price and go to the net and kind of get beat up a little bit. Scoring goals outweighs everything. I'd do anything to score a goal and help the team win. And I think just trying to improve on what I did the year before and each game and just kind of make myself a more complete 200-foot player now. But as far as scoring goals, I don't think there's a huge secret. I'd shoot from the parking lot and go to the net. So that's my advice to any young forward or young hockey player that wants to score goals is they're all done right in front of the net. So.
What have been some challenges that you faced early on, and then you transitioned to Arizona State, where you're facing obviously a better competition, in learning the newer position from being a defenseman to being a forward?
Yeah, I mean, at the start of my freshman year, I think I had 1 goal through 10 games, and I was like, wow, this has changed a little bit. It's obviously tougher. It's just that next step, and trying to figure out a way to contribute really is what I focus on. Whether sometimes as a goal scorer, the puck's just not going to go in the net. No matter what you do, it's just not going to. And just finding different ways to help the team win, whether it's playing hard or blocking a shot or really just trying to make an impact on every game, not just on the scoreboard, but on the bench or on the forecheck. There's it's just a broad position that has a lot more than scoring goals that I'm finding out now.
With the commitment wall in the Tauros office, I've obviously seen your picture up there with the Arizona State commit, and there was another one, and I can't think of his name, Ken, off the top of my head.
Jake Clifford?
Yep.
Baby. Cliff show.
Are you in touch with any of your other former Toro teammates? Do you talk to them any?
Yeah, here and there. I play against a lot of them, which is awesome. The banter back and forth, it just kind of never goes away. And the fun will never disappear. I had some great times there. But yeah, I keep in touch with the guys when we can, and especially through all this, it's a little bit easier with more time to keep in touch. And it's tough. Everyone's kind of got their own things going on, and with school and hockey and even jobs. I know Jaden Martin, having children and just a wide range. Congratulations to Jaden, by the way. But everyone's busy, but you do your best to stay in touch with the guys.
You mentioned playing against some of your former Toro teammates. Toros fans who were fans back then, remember, you're not the easiest guy to play against. A guy who runs his mouth a lot brings a physical edge to the game as well. Do you still hassle the other Toros the same way you do other opponents, or do you go a little bit easier on some of those guys?
No, I don't. I don't care who we're playing. It doesn't matter if it's my brother. It just, that competitive edge is something I can't turn off. But I've tried to change my game a little bit, especially college. It's different. In junior hockey, you're able to fight, and so if you're running your mouth in junior hockey, you better be ready to back it up. But college, it's kind of a different game. That's there's not as much as that of that. Sorry, it's I've just tried to focus on being more consistent, and I found that there's definitely a time and a place for a smart remark, but it's a different game. Just focus on the littler things as the level gets higher. It's like I said, just more focus and awareness of the game, and not so much on what funny thing you're going to say next to get under someone's skin.
Hey, a shout out to you from some of the fans watching on Facebook Live and YouTube. Sam Smith says hello. Not sure if you remember Sam, former Tank.
Absolutely, the greatest mascot of all time.
And But before we keep talking about college, I actually want to take you back to your time before being a Toro. Tauros this summer drafted Cole Stofflet out of Culver, which is where you went to high school. What about, you think of places that are hockey hotbeds, Indiana doesn't come to mind, but Culver's definitely produced some quality players. What is it about that place that produces good hockey players?
They've always had a good hockey program. I was fortunate enough to go there and play with some great guys and great hockey players and be coached by some great coaches as well. But you learn a lot there. A lot more than just hockey, and I think that can help. Sometimes you can get focused on one aspect to your life, and that's just not possible. You've got of course the military side that you have to stay up on and focus on, but also academically is really difficult there. So just how to manage time and deal with difficult tasks. It carries over to later on in your career, and I'm very fortunate to have been a part of that great academy.
Another fan checking in on Facebook Live, Jay Stibby chimes in asking, "Are you trying to look like your coach?"
Oh, Coach Greg. Yeah, after I got a glimpse of myself mid quarantine, and I couldn't believe my hair, and obviously. Everything is closed and it's opening up down here. But yeah, one day I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I did it. We've got a good group of Skinners on our team. We've got a wide variety, a couple coaches, some players, Tyler Bush, here with me, but, he doesn't have much of a choice. He doesn't have any hair. So, it's a lifestyle that I've learned to embrace, and it's not just a haircut anymore. It's who I am. But yeah, shout out to Coach Greg. He's an inspiration for the haircut as well as the others.
Speaking of Arizona State, what made you want to go there? What appealed to that program to you, and what about the school appealed?
And what has it been like building a relatively young D1 program?
Yeah, actually, just a quick story. When they first announced that they were going to go Division I, that was it. I had other schools in mind, and I was interested in other schools. Not so much the other way; they weren't as interested in me. But
I'm sure they regret that now.
Hopefully, that's kind of the plan. But I'm happy to be here, and I couldn't be more fortunate with the opportunities I've been given. But as soon as it was announced that they were going to Division I, obviously being from here, they've been talked for a long time, and when they made that announcement, I wanted to come back home and obviously build a program from the start and be there, kind of the original guys that when we look back at this organization, it'll be our footprint that kind of built that tradition that we talk about. But and then obviously being close to home with my brother, I moved away early. Like you guys said, I went to Culver when I was 15, just turned 15, and bounced around junior hockey some. And I wanted to come home and be with my family and play in front of my brother. But the stories, we just played Bismarck, and I don't remember. I scored once, twice. I don't remember exactly, but I was sitting in the back with Marty, and we talked about ASU, and I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, that's it. Like, that'd be the coolest thing ever. And he's like, if you keep scoring goals like that, you can do it. And I'm sitting there like, dude, yeah, right. Like, there's no chance, whatever. And I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. But yeah, the belief and the backing I had in Minot definitely helped propel me to ASU, which is my goal, my dream.
You between Minot and ASU, you had a brief stint in Topeka, and then you in the NA, and then you went on to Chicago, my old stomping grounds, the Fox Valley Ice Arena, out where I grew up.
Fox Vegas.
Yeah. What was that year in the USHL like, and how did that also help contribute to your success at the college level?
Yeah, in the North American League, it's obviously still growing, and it's a tremendous league where The difference between the USHL and the North American League isn't as much as some people believe it is. It's obviously a great league, but there's plenty of great players in the North American League that could make that jump. And fortunately enough, I was one of them. And playing there under Dan Muse, there were some highs and lows and a lot of things I had to learn and adjust my game. But that winning culture that I learned there, along with everywhere else I played, and how to carry yourself day in and day out, has kind of contributed to success here at ASU.
You bring you back to Arizona State. Sorry, we're jumping around a little bit here, but one of the things I saw you guys did is you went and played an exhibition game in China. What was that like? Just culturally, as an experience, had to be completely out of your comfort zone. And what was the hockey like? We talk about earlier Indiana not being thought of. You really don't think of China as a place that has developing hockey.
Yeah, obviously, we went out there. We played a few games actually against some Chinese pro teams in the VHL and some Division II KHL teams, and it's growing over there, as it is all over the world. Alex Ovechkin was actually there while we were there. Saw him on the Great Wall, and it's just, he's doing the same thing that we're trying to do. Obviously, he's on a much greater level, but growing the game and expanding knowledge of the game, and it's growing over there. We've got a kid on our team, Peter Zong. He's from there, and luckily we had him. It was obviously a culture shock. Different language and not much way to communicate, but it's growing there. They had great players from China, and it's Peter's a phenomenal player as well. So it's great to see the game grow and all over the world, not just in the hotbeds we think of.
Tauros fans know you as being a guy that's very celebratory after goals and all that. You had one specifically your sophomore year at ASU against Penn State. It was a game-winning goal, and you ended up doing the canoe celebration, which
most ridiculous thing ever.
Which, if you haven't seen that, fans, please go
YouTube
that. It is hilarious. But what was going through your head when you did that and that whole situation?
They were number 6 in the country at that time, and the night before we had a chance, and it was a real close game, and we're kind of thought of as the emerging and the little brothers, especially at that time of college hockey, and we felt that we deserve more respect, and but more about that game. If you go more in depth on YouTube, you'll find Barrett, Chicago draft pick, played at Penn State. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he did that lacrosse move, and it was one of the first ones that was done like that and like successfully. And he did that and celebrated up to like the far red line, like the red line and then the blue line. And I mean, it was a sick goal. I can't take anything away from it. It was a sick goal, but pissed me off. It really pissed me off. And playing with Bushy and Grooves, I turned to Bushy. I was like, wow, that was sick. And then obviously it goes into overtime, and I was like, I'm gonna do something stupid. I'm gonna do something silly. When we win this game, I'm gonna do something silly, and like just kind of like shove it right back in their face. And Bushy made a great clear and found me, and lucky enough to score. And then I think I blacked out. That's my story. It was ridiculous, but just raw emotion and just like so excited. I don't know if I exactly planned that Sully out, but that was the one that I went with, and it. The more I think about it, the more ridiculous it is.
You mentioned playing with that raw emotion, though, and that is something that was your trademark here in Minot. Do you have any memories that stick out? Whether it be celebrations or just moments with your teammates or anything that you really, when you think back about your time in Minot's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh, there's tons, but I don't remember exactly the score what happened, but it was Bismarck in the playoffs, and I want to say we were leading in the series. I'm not sure exactly, but we had a great first and a horrible second. And Marty comes in, and I was bad. And when I say I was bad, I was probably would have been better playing left-handed that game. And, I was no good in any zone, and that was one of my favorite things about Coach Murray was if he held you accountable, it didn't matter who you were or what you were doing. He made sure that you knew that if you were doing something right, that you were, and if you weren't, that he was going to let you know. But I got a good chewing, as did all of us, and I ended up scoring late in the third, and I just remember I sallied out to the red line again. Now that I chirped Barrett, I sallied out to the red line. I remember Mettler and Casey Johnson were there, and it was just like the boys, like we did, like that. Obviously, you guys understand the rivalry, but that's one that really sticks out to me.
That was, if memory serves, that was the game tire, and then right off the face-off, I believe Blake fed Mose for the game winner.
Yep.
Literally 15 seconds after that
right
one.
After.
Yep. And that was to sweep the series. So, yeah, that was a huge one of the biggest moments in Tauros history, certainly to that point.
It was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
Now, what was for the college hockey players? What was the end of the season like this year with COVID coming around? I know our season, we lost the final 10 games of our season plus the playoffs. You guys missed out on kind of the end of the season. I should have looked up. I forget now where you guys were in the standings, if you guys were going to be playing in postseason or not. But kind of what was the end of the season like for you guys?
We were up in Wisco. Hard-fought battle the first night, and then the second night was senior night, and it was a tough one. And we knew going there that we could seal our a position in the national tournament with a win. And we had a tough go, and the seniors especially. Heart goes out to them. They ended the season on a tough note, and obviously with the rest being canceled. But we were I think 99.something% that we were going to be in the tournament, and we kind of knew what the setup was going to be. And the year before, obviously we get a little bit longer of a break, and with it being our first time, there were things that we knew we needed to change, and we were going to change come this year, and we had a great team, a full team, and we even came back and we're working out and really getting after it, ready, ramping things up and making sure that we did everything possible to put ourselves in the best position to win come playoffs. But obviously with everything that's happened, we're not the only ones that have been stripped that last little bit of the season, but now we're just focused on next year and doing everything we can to be the best that we can next year and hit the ground running when the season starts up again.
You're speaking of next year. You were named by the coaching staff an alternate captain for the 2020-2021 season. What does that mean to you, having wanted to go to ASU the whole time, wanted to leave a mark and grow the program, and then in your senior year, you're named as a alternate captain?
Yeah, it's a huge honor. Obviously, to be recognized for something like that is tremendous. But we've got a phenomenal team, a great group of guys, and two of the other captains I've lived with my freshman and sophomore year. Great guys, phenomenal hockey players too, as well as the other one. But just to be recognized and looked up to is a huge honor, and it comes with a lot of responsibility that I've had to work for and had to earn, and I really hope to make the most of that, and I will. But as a captain, that you're kind of held to a higher standard, and I've been prepared through all of junior hockey and my whole career for this, so I'm ready and excited.
With the season being cut short and next year being your senior year, I imagine you're going to come in pretty hungry next year. What are you looking for next year? And it is your senior year. Have you thought about what's next after college hockey?
Yeah, obviously it's been a dream of mine to play professional hockey, and that's something that I definitely want to chase after my college career. But as I've learned, time flies by. I mean, Minot feels like yesterday, and it really wasn't yesterday. I remember Jaden Martin telling me that, pulling me aside my first year and like telling me how fast it goes, and I was like, whatever, and it's flown by. So my focus now is just on staying in the moment, making the most of this season, and preparing myself the best way I can and the best way I know how to be successful next year, and really make a run with this group. We've been through lots of highs and lots of lows, and I think that especially doing it for the seniors that put in even more of the hard times. We're playing for them next year, and everything that they weren't able to be a part of last year because of all this. So a lot of hunger.
You mentioned wanting to play pro hockey after. I know you've skated in a few pro prospect camps. What have those experiences been like?
Yeah, there's lots of information that comes at you at camps like that, and obviously some nerves and everything. But being around. Obviously, there weren't NHL guys, but skating with them in the summers and just being around that environment kind of makes you realize that it's another big step, probably the biggest step of my career, and that's why I'm trying to stay focused on where I'm at, because I know to play at that next level, it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, and I'm willing to put in that work. But it's exciting, but like I said, trying to stay present.
Johnny, one last thing before we go. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or say hi to?
That's a tough one. Obviously, all the coaches I had with Coach Murray and Nigel, Busty Nigel, but also my billet families, the mayors. I've kept in touch with them, and of course Jared Olson. I, like you guys know, had a tough first year, and struggled on the back end, and he really kept me focused and motivated to be where I am now, because times were tough. But he was a huge part of my success early in my junior career. So obviously, thank you to everyone, and miss it a lot.
Johnny, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully you have a very memorable senior year and you can finally get into the playoffs.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Johnny. Catch you later.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Fans, that is Arizona State forward and alternate captain for the 2020-2021 season, Johnny Walker.
And really one of the most exciting Tauros to ever come through Minot. So
I wish I could have been here for it.
He was an absolute fan favorite. It was great to catch up with Johnny, bringing back the memory of that third period comeback against Bismarck for the sweep. That was great too. I love talking to Johnny. Miss having him here, and he brought up fighting. I missed back when it was only a 5-minute penalty, and things would go a little sideways sometimes. But yeah, last thing I have before we go. Rare for us. We're not usually, if we're plugging something for a sponsor, but they are not sponsors. Papa John's tonight, if you haven't had dinner or you're looking for a late night snack, all of their proceeds from tonight are going to the Fenner family to help with the expenses related to the hit and run accident a couple of weeks ago. So please, if you can, order a pizza tonight. That's what me and Victoria did for dinner with the kids before we came out here. So please, if you can, order a pizza. It goes to a good cause. And
that's what's great about this community, is they're always looking to help someone, always willing to lend a hand and to be there when you need them the most. So for Ken Oda, Sean Bachhoven, once again behind the scenes, I'm Peter Theodos signing off from the Bonfire Studios North.